15 years ago, I bought my first camera. It was the Canon 5D Mark II. It was one of the best cameras out at that time. I always wanted to pick up an anamorphic lens for that camera. I never got around to doing it. Now that I think back, I think one of the reasons why I never bought an anamorphic lens was because they were all manual focus. Companies like Blazar and Surui are releasing autofocus lenses in their lineup, and today I'm going to be reviewing the 50mm 1.5 anamorphic lens by Blazar. Hello everyone, so welcome back to the channel. When I saw this news from Blazar a couple of months ago, I knew I had to get my hands on this lens, and I'm going to test it out in terms of its autofocus, in terms of its focus breathing. I think currently it's about 7 p.m. and the sun should be setting in the next half an hour to 45 minutes, so I thought this would be a great time to test this lens out. Hopefully I'll be able to test out some flares. If not, I'll probably go back and test these flares out indoors. So I've got the camera connected to the monitor app, and I'm going to see the autofocus and how well it responds. The autofocus is not bad. The lens is sharp. It has some character to it. As of what I see right now, I don't think the focus breathing is too bad. So the minimum focusing distance for this lens is 0.65 meters or about 2.1 feet. I'm currently trying to film this beautiful artwork that's behind me. The camera is almost, I think, 40 feet away from me right now. It's always so nervous leaving the camera and equipment and walking away so far. But yeah, it's something you got to get used to, especially when you're filming by yourself, I guess. Okay, so now you've gone out, you've shot your videos on your anamorphic lens. Now it's time to get into the post-production process and how do you de-squeeze the footage? So let's dive straight into that, and I'm going to show you two ways on how you can de-squeeze the footage in your editing software, whether that's DaVinci, Final Cut Pro, or Adobe Premiere. It's pretty much the same. Okay, now let's get into the fun stuff. Once you've recorded any footage using any anamorphic lens, I'll show you how to de-squeeze the footage in post-production using any editing software. I'm using DaVinci Resolve, but what I'm going to show you can be done in Adobe Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro as well, so it's pretty straightforward. Once you have the software opened, start a new project. Let's upload the clips that we want to use. So I've opened DaVinci Resolve and I've got my timeline right here, and I've got the footage that I've recorded using an anamorphic lens. So now it's time to de-squeeze this footage. So we've got the preview window here and you've got the final output window here. So let's preview the file. As you can see, the image doesn't look natural, it's squished. So we will need to de-squeeze this. So in order to do that, there are two ways to do this. The first method is you right click on the clip, go to clip attributes. Under pixel aspect ratio, you can change this, if you scroll on top, to the desired de-squeeze that you want. Since this was shot with the Blazar Talon 1.5x, I will be applying a 1.5x de-squeeze, and I just click OK. And there you go. As you can see, now you've got these two black borders on the top and the bottom. And now your image is looking much more natural than how it was before. Once you've done that, you can bring the clip onto the timeline and then begin editing the video. The second way to de-squeeze this clip is to bring the clip into your timeline. Once that's been done, you click on the clip, go to the inspector panel, and then unlink the X and Y axis. After this, you can change the input of Y to de-squeeze the clip. In this case, I will be using the 1.5x, so I will need to de-squeeze it by 1.5. The 1.5x de-squeeze is equal to 0.667. So there you go, that's the 1.5 de-squeeze that's been applied to the clip. But what I've noticed is that the more natural looking image for this particular lens is not a 1.5 D squeeze, but rather a 1.6 D squeeze. So just to show you the difference, 1.5 is what we have currently. And if I change this to 0.65, then just keep an eye on this. See, there was a slight small change. I think this is a more natural image to the eye. So I think if you ask me, in my opinion, I would use the 0.65 D squeeze for this particular lens, which is 1.6x aspect ratio. And that's it. Once you have done this, you can go ahead and start editing the clip. So let's talk about the build quality of this lens. It's made out of metal and it's got some weight to it, right? It's almost 706 grams if I'm not mistaken. I haven't tried this on a gimbal yet, but it should be okay, especially if you have the pro version of these gimbals. Nowadays, the payload on all these gimbals are quite high, 3 kgs. So I've got a Sony FX3 and this lens together, I think is less than 1.5 kgs, so it should be okay on my DJI RS5. The focusing ring is smooth. The aperture ring is it's quite stiff. It's not very loose, so I think that's another advantage. You don't have to worry about accidentally moving the aperture ring while filming. What would have been really nice is if they had the clicking mechanism for the aperture ring. That would have been a useful addition to have on this lens. I really like the build quality. Another thing you need to keep in mind is the length of this lens. The length is just under 14.5 centimeters and it just about fits into my camera bag, and I'm using the Shimoda Urban Explorer, so I'm not sure if this will necessarily fit into all camera bags. That's one thing you need to keep in mind. Probably worth measuring the space that you have in your camera bag before you buy this lens. I also want to talk about the flares on this lens, right? So the Blazar Talon 1.5x anamorphic lens only comes in neutral flares. They do not have the blue flares, which I think is okay because this helps you have a more modern and organic feel to your footage as opposed to a more stylized, curated footage. If that's the kind of footage that you're trying to go for, then I think the blue flare would be great. But if I want to film a lot of different projects, I think a neutral flare will be good. If you notice some of the flares in the footage that I captured, you can see that the flares that come out of this anamorphic lens is quite artistic. I like it. I like the way it looks. I think it's very subjective here. In terms of the bokeh on this lens, the bokeh is super soft, very natural, and the bokeh balls are not exactly fully circular. They're sort of oval in shape, but as you approach towards the center of the footage, I think they are more circular, but as you go towards the edges, the bokeh balls are more oval in shape. When I tested this lens out in low light situations, I was using my ISO at 12,800 on the Sony FX3. The lens will struggle in low light conditions. I was using the lens without any lighting, just depending on natural lights or any artificial lights that were around. I did not carry any of my lights around. So in low light conditions, the lens will be hunting for focus unless you crank up your ISO, which again will bring a lot of noise into your videos. During daytime, there was no issues with focus hunting at all. Even the focus breathing seems to be completely natural and not very prominent. I'm really happy about the way the autofocus is on this lens. I'm not going to complain there. So who exactly are these lenses made for? In my opinion, I think these products are released to make it more accessible for people, especially for beginners or solo filmmakers who want to go out there and have less friction in their workflow so that they spend more time enjoying the whole process and creating more videos. I think this is a great fit if you're a solo filmmaker or a content creator who's looking to sort of get cinematic shots, the widescreen aspect. I think it's also made for people who are on a budget. Most of these anamorphic lenses go upwards of thousands of dollars, and to be able to now buy an autofocus anamorphic lens for less than $1,000 is mind-blowing, right? So I think another group of people that these lenses are made for are for lower budget filmmakers who want to get the same cinematic high quality footage at a fraction of the costs. I think another group of people that these lenses are made for are for beginners, especially someone who's never used an anamorphic lens in the past before. I myself fall into this group. I've never used an anamorphic lens before. This is my first anamorphic lens, and to have a lens that has autofocus built in, I think is really great. So essentially, I think the three categories of people who these lenses are built for are number one is for solo filmmakers or content creators. Number two are for budget filmmakers, content creators. And the third one is for beginners, someone who's never been used to an anamorphic lens. Overall, I really love this lens and I'm happy I got it, and I can't wait to go out there and, start using this lens more often. I don't want to overuse this lens. It will be in my arsenal for the right project or the right concept. And when that time comes, I'm sure this lens will deliver. I think Blazar is also working on releasing the 35mm and the 75mm in the same Talon series. They aren't out yet as of when this video is released. Once those lenses are released, I'll probably look at picking up the 75mm so I can get more tight shots in the same aspect ratio. Well, I hope you enjoyed and found this video useful. I really enjoyed filming this video and going around and playing with the anamorphic lens, especially in the UK. Now that the weather's getting better, we seem to be having a lot more sunny days. I'm just enjoying the process of going out and filming. I don't know about the others, but the weather influences me a lot. I really love sunny days, and I try to make the most of it when I'm here in the UK. That's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you found this video useful, please drop a like or a comment and let me know what your thoughts are. My target is to hit 100 subscribers by the end of May, so thank you for your support so far, and I'll see you in the next one.